NBA totals, we're back at it again. This is going to be Tuesday for you guys, January 24th, and we're going to break down some totals. So this is our segment where we look at NBA totals, and we try to beat the line that the odds makers, I can't talk this morning, we try to beat the line the odds makers set, either going over or under that total that they have set. That's it. We also have our NCAA segment out there as well. That was 3-0 yesterday. Pretty good. NBA was 2-1 yesterday, so not bad. And we're chugging right along. Right now, 144 and 128 in our NBA picks. Quick update for you. And that's not great, but NCAA is doing quite well. I'll have the current record updated on the YouTube channel, and you got to check that out. YouTube channel, Facebook page, Sportsbook Review, SBRpicks.com. And the great thing about us, we're transparent. It's all free. A lot of free picks out there. Great website, Sportsbook sign-up bonuses, blacklist. It's all there. So you got to check out Sportsbook Review. If you guys got some feedback for me, you can fire away, and I'll get back to you after we go ahead and run down some totals. We got 3 games on the card today. Quick mention about yesterday. Spread picks were good, actually. I did mention yesterday 2 picks. I called Milwaukee and New Orleans, and if you check the video, I called them both straight up. Now, I wish I would have parlayed them, is what I wish I would have done, along with all the other underdogs. I actually made a comment, which I usually don't after I do my videos. I just kind of get ready for the next day. But I made a comment after all the games were done because I was shocked. 8 out of the 9 underdogs won straight up. That's incredible. That never happens. Like a $10 bet, if you would have done an 18 parlay on all the underdogs to win straight up on the money line, you'd never have to make any more bets ever again. I think ESPN put up a segment where if you put down a $100 bet on for the Jazz, the Rockets, the Warriors, and Cleveland to lose, a $100 bet would have got you 26,000. 260 to 1 odds. That is crazy. But it's rare, really rare. That probably won't happen again for like another, 3 or 4 seasons. So that's just crazy. Anyways, let's get some totals. All right, first one up. Here we go. Let's jump into today. This line interested me a lot, and that is, which one are we going to talk about first? Boston. Let's do Boston, Washington. And the reason why it interested me, because Oddsmakers had it at 220 and it's dropped, but I'm going over. Right now I got it at 217. Some places are at 216 and a half. I'll say I'm locked in at 217. I'm going to go over. Even though this is getting nasty. These two teams do not like each other right now. Washington's talking about wearing black to the game and all sorts of stuff. But man, these guys get up and down the floor. Again, a trend we've been looking at, and I hate to keep beating it to death, but it's just true. We got Boston and Washington. Oddsmakers come out with a 220 total. Last one they had was 218. That 220 they came out with, highest total we've seen with Washington and Boston in their history all the way back to 2004. That's incredible. But that's this season. Same thing in NCAA. I mean, their teams are really scoring. So you can look at it 2 ways. The line dropped because there's some sharps on it, and it's not going to get up and down. Or you can look at it as they're getting it down to a reasonable number, then they're going to hammer it the other way. I'm going with the latter. I really think this gets over that 217. Although the lines drop 3 points, I'm still going the over. Boston could flat out score, and Washington gets up and down. I would feel more comfortable if this was at Boston, but it's at Washington. But I still like the over. I'm going to take a shot on the over. This is my least favorite play of the day out of these 3. But I want to give out 3 today. I still like it enough to go ahead and play it. It's still a regular unit. Got to have my coffee. All right. Next one up. Do I need to get in the statistics with Washington and Boston? I mean, they get up and down like crazy. They don't play a ton of defense. Boston's a little bit better than Washington. Boston 107 points per game. Washington 106 points per game. Washington shooting over 47% from the field. They rank 4th in the league. Boston's shooting over 45% from the field, but they're shooting almost 37% of the 3-point shots. Washington cannot defend from beyond the arc. I think this gets up and down. 2 really fast-paced teams. They get up 86 attempts per game. They allow a lot of attempts, a lot of efficient scoring. I think they get there. That's a lot of points. But I like the pace. All right, sorry. All right, here we go. For those of you guys who like to hear some statistics, there you go. Utah and Denver, another one. Same sort of trend here. 211. Biggest total we've seen between Utah. There's one specific reason why I'm going over. There's one specific reason why I like this game. So it's 211, and again, that's the highest total we've seen between Denver and Utah since 2010. You know, they had a couple of high totals back then. 216 they went over 212, but that's back, that different, totally different dynamic now. Utah's a real grind out team. The fact that that's 211, I mean, they met up, and I could have talked more about the Wizards and the Celtics and their last matchup, but I didn't, because we got to get this going. I've noticed I've been going just a little bit too long, longer than I'd like to. So last matchup, we had Denver at Utah, 105-98. There's one main reason why I like over the 211 is Denver's been scoring like crazy. That's the first thing. It's at Denver. That's the second thing. The third thing, Utah's a pretty efficient scoring team, although they're very slow tempo-wise. They're playing in Denver. Okay, Denver's getting up and down, but Utah off the back-to-back. This is what I like. Let's look at some. I'm not going to get into their statistics per se. I'm going to talk about a trend here. With Utah, sorry, let me bring up a different view. Okay. So first of all, this total, again, is really, really high, but there's a good reason for it. I think they're going to score like crazy. Utah off a back-to-back, they'll run. They will. And you want the proof? Here it is. The last time they were off second leg of a back-to-back, they played Orlando, final 221. Time before that, off a back-to-back, they played Memphis. That doesn't count. I'm talking about Utah right now because Memphis is really slow and Utah is really slow. So we skipped that one. Let's go to the next one. And I'll tell you why I like the trend here. Boston, 219 is where they ended up. Boston, similar to Denver as far as getting up and down, but Denver does not play as well a defense as Boston. Then we go back even further a little bit, excuse me, where they played Phoenix, very similar to Denver, 217. So 3 out of the last 4 times, I have it down where they've been off a back-to-back against teams that go up tempo, like Denver, they go. So I think that's why the number set as high as it is. But I'm going to go back over the total. I think that's a smart play. I think that's the way to go. This was probably my favorite play on the board. It doesn't mean there's any more value. It just, I personally like it. I'm not going to, bet more money or anything like that because that's not good money management. Okay, last one we got, and this line really grabbed me as well because it came out at 212, and that's Minnesota and Phoenix. Now it's up to 214, but I'm going under, and I'm going under because of that 212. Because that line is very odd for a game with Phoenix, and I've been using this phrase a little bit recently, so I apologize if it's too much, with Phoenix in the equation. Because Phoenix can get up and down, and they've been playing some pretty good basketball recently. Minnesota goes slow. Tom Thibodeau, great defense. Their pace is not that fast. They already met up. Last time was in Minnesota, and this is another reason why I like this game. This is a little bit of a numbers play here, which I like to do from time to time. Or just say this is a numbers play. So we got 115-108. Minnesota beat Phoenix. Okay. That ended up at 223. See how quickly I did the math there? I must need some coffee. Okay. So that ended up at 223. Oddsmakers came out with this line at 212. That's really low for a Phoenix game. And I'll tell you about that in just one second. But in that matchup, Phoenix got up just 82 attempts. That's really low for them. Minnesota got up 86. That's actually high for them. The averages, they shot, if anything, they shot from beyond the arc a little bit higher than they should. But the tempo wasn't that fast. Minnesota did shoot 49% from the floor. That's a little too high for them. And Phoenix shot 45%. That's about them. Nothing really jumps out at me in this pace and this number. So why is this number not higher? And it's in Phoenix and they're off rest. So this is a numbers play for me. I'm going under that 214. And let me mention that one last thing I wanted to as far as Phoenix. So we look at Phoenix here. The line came out at 212. That's what we're going to talk about. Although it's gone up. That's just people's opinion. But you look at Phoenix, I mean, their odds makers, you go back to the beginning of December, odds makers have only set Phoenix at this low a total or around this. They had a 211 against San Antonio. They had a 213 against Philadelphia. They had a 213 against the Clippers, a 211 against Miami. And then they had a 206. Okay, then the last two don't really count because it's Dallas. They had a 206 and a 207 against Dallas, the slowest team in the league, along with Utah. But they're worse on both ends, And then they had a matchup with Utah, a low one as well. But when you see them against regular competition, really high totals. Yet oddsmakers came out with this number at 212. So, we can dig into the stats a little bit. I mean, Phoenix can score. They go really fast, and that's Phoenix. They just how they run their stuff, even with Watson at the helm instead of someone like D'Antoni from the days past. Phoenix is allowing 111 points per game, and they're scoring 106. Minnesota 103 and allowing 104. Defensively, their percentages are not that great, and the tempo is actually, is decently fast. Minnesota doesn't go fast. Phoenix goes pretty fast. It's in Phoenix. This number should be a bit higher in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and back under the total. That's my reasoning for that one. There's some more, percentages we can dig into, but as far as matchups, there's just nothing that really jumps out at me saying like this is just going to get up and down. So I'm going to go back under the total. Okay. A lot more statistics I can go over, but again, for brevity's sake, we're just going to go ahead and stop right there. We're going to talk about some spreads. And yesterday we did good. Yesterday we did well. Sorry, that was bad grammar. Okay, so first let's recap that, then we'll talk about some spreads. We got Washington and Boston over the 217, Utah over the 211, Utah and Denver over the 211, and Phoenix and Minnesota under the 214. All right, so right now the spreads are all really tight today. So we got San Antonio at Toronto. I think Leonard's out, and I think DeRozan's out. San Antonio's a -3 favorite. I got no opinion on that. If anything, I'd take the points with Toronto because Toronto's always really tough to beat at home. They always find a way to win, it seems. And San Antonio's on the second leg of a back-to-back after being the only favorite to win yesterday, beating Brooklyn. Chicago, Orlando. I have no idea about that Chicago team. Gosh darn. I don't know how Orlando could be an underdog against a Chicago team. I don't know. Maybe Chicago's going to come out and play their guts out. I know Fournier, he's still out. Clippers in Philadelphia. The Clippers, a -4.5 favorite because Embiid is out. But the Clippers beating Atlanta? Holy cow, with nobody? Man, Coach Buds for Atlanta should be ashamed of himself. That's a bad loss. They can't lose to the Clippers when they're thin. I looked at that one also on the total for a while, and I was going to go under, and I finally decided just to lay off it. Just to let you know. Just as a side note. I have no play on that. I have one play today, and that's Denver minus the points. That's it. Boston and Washington, that's going to be a heck of a game. That would be the best game of the day. Utah and Denver, I like Denver. I like the over, and I like for Denver to go ahead and cover this 2.5. Utah coming off a back-to-back. I think they're going to struggle a little bit tonight. That was a tough loss for them. Big shot by Westbrook. And Minnesota, Phoenix, I got no opinion. That's going to be a decent matchup. They like to... they do like to run a little bit, but I don't think they get over the total like I already mentioned. And that is it. That's all I have. I do have my NCAA segment out there as well. A ton of really, really good college basketball games today. That's really a good slate you want to check out. Any questions, comments? Would I lean Boston -1? Man, Washington, I don't know. They're playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. For me, that's a no play for me. But if a gun to my head, I take Boston because they're a better team, in my opinion. I think they play better on both ends of the floor. And one college game, Purdue at Michigan State. Yeah, I think I made a mistake actually on my NCAA video. I think I said the game's at Purdue. I have a play on that on the total, and you have to check out my NCAA video to see what that is. I'm just kidding. You don't have to check it out. It's under. I like under the total between Purdue and Michigan State. As far as I would take Michigan State plus the points at home. Purdue's a really good team. But Tom Izzo at home, getting points, I think that would be the way to go. And I have no opinion on Notre Dame. That's it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. But so, hey, best of luck to you guys today. Be sure to check out my NCAA segment. And don't forget to check out sbrpicks.com, all our sportsbook review stuff. And I wish you guys luck on your picks today.